Hey guys, hope everybody's having a good day out there today. Welcome back to another edition of Intuitive Angling. Really appreciate you guys making a little time to watch the video, and got a really good video for you guys today. I'm going to go over what are the three most important rods for every bass angler to have. That actually these three rods that I'm talking about, you could use these three rods for every technique there is in bass fishing, and you wouldn't have to buy another one. And I'm going to guess these three that I show you guys here, I use them 75% of the time in my fishing, and the other 25% of the times I'll have some other specialty rods, but these are the workhorses and the ones that I'd highly recommend for you guys having in your arsenal. If you're, new to the sport, getting into it, even average or even a good angler. I mean, I think that's really all you need. So I'm going to go over in detail about each one of them and the baits I fish on them, and techniques and everything. Real quick, if you guys are interested in getting any rods, Baitworks here in Springfield, Missouri has got one of the best rod selections of any tackle store, online or physical store in the country, man. I'll include the Baitworks link in the description. You guys can check out all the rods they got there. Great way to support the channel here. Okay guys, rods in general, you have to look at rods as nothing but more the tools. You have to look at them as tools to do the best job to maximize the efficiency of what you want to do in your fishing. And the critical aspect of rods, obviously, there's sensitivity involved, there's power as far as hooking the fish and all that type of stuff, actions that we understand. But in my opinion, probably the most important aspect of a rod is having the correct rod that allows you to get the best action or manipulation on your lure. If you don't have the right rod action, length, and all that type of stuff on certain lure categories, especially things like jerk baits, spinner baits, crankbaits, baits, a lot of times that you put the action on, you manipulate that action yourself, you simply can't get the most out of those baits. So it's really important from that aspect. And then you have other ingredients, including like casting distance and, taking up line on the hook set and all that. So I'm going to go over with you guys the three that I use most of the time here. The first one is a spinning rod. This is a 6 foot 10 inch Megabass whip snake spinning rod. You guys hear me talk about this rod a lot. This is the spinning rod I use 90% of the time. It's a medium. I would place it as a medium action rod. Like I said, 6 foot 10 inches long. I use this for a variety of techniques. All of my finesse techniques, like my wacky rigs, shaky heads, Ned rigs, drop shots, all that type of stuff, even some small worms, finesse jigs, even like that. I'll fish on this spinning rod here. Also, this is the only rod I use with a jerk bait. Well, 98% of the time, unless I'm using a giant, like a giant jerk bait or something like that. 98% of the jerk bait fishing I do with this rod, as well with a lot of crankbaits, guys. I throw a lot of small crankbaits on this rod, even baits like a wiggle wart. The thing about a spinning rod with jerk baits and crankbaits is the reason that I like them is not only it gives you a better feel, but it allows you to make a longer cast. I can put 6 and 8 pound test line on the spinning rod, and I can make a 25% farther cast than anyone could with a bait caster, especially if it's windy. So it's a really good setup under those conditions. A lot of people don't equate spinning gear with lure categories like crankbaits and jerkbaits and that type of stuff. But guys, I can tell you right now, if you start incorporating a spinning rod into your jerkbaits and your crankbaits, it's going to add up to a lot more fish for you guys, for sure. Also, I'll fish like floating worms, flukes, and all that type of stuff on it. But this whip snake spinning rod is my workhorse. I'm going to guess that I probably use it 50% of the time. It's in the boat with me 100% of the time. I can't remember the last tournament I fished that I didn't have it in the boat. It's it's irreplaceable. So 50% of the bass that I catch every year is on a spinning rod, 6 foot 10 inch Megabass whip snake. Okay, the next one is a 7 foot 2 inch heavy model, or excuse me, 7 foot 2 inch medium heavy action rod. This is the Megabass Levante Perfect Pitch. And guys, the category of a 7 to 7, like a 7.72 medium heavy action is an extremely versatile rod, guys. I use this with so many different techniques. I'll use this with a lot of different crankbaits, like some big deep diving crankbaits. I'll use it sometimes with squirrel crankbaits. I fish most all my spinner baits on this rod. You can fish chatterbaits on it. You can fish buzz baits. You can fish walking topwaters with it. I use it a lot for casting like soft plastic stick baits, casting Texas rig worms, casting swim baits, the larger size swim baits, all that type of stuff. Football head jigs, swing head jigs. There's a ton of different techniques that I use with a medium heavy 7.2 rod. Now, the only drawback on this for certain lure categories is sometimes you sacrifice the soft tip for, you know, the stiffness on there. So if you're fishing a lot of smaller, medium-sized crankbaits, that type of stuff, something that you need a little bit of give to the tip, probably not the best rod, although it is serviceable. Also, you can use it, but this particular rod here, I mean, it's the most versatile bait casting model rod that you can have. A 7-foot medium, 7 foot 2 inch medium heavy bait cast rod. It'll cover so many different applications for you. You can just get by with a lot of stuff with it. The last one is a flipping stick. This is the Megabass Alkalies flipping stick. Again, a lot of people equate flipping sticks with just flipping, and they're not. There's a lot of different things I do with this Megabass flipping stick. Obviously, I'll do all my pitching, all my flipping with it. But the other things that I use this rod for is my big spinner baits. If I'm fishing a 3/4 or a 1 ounce spinner bait, this is the rod I'm using on it. It gives me a lot of power. It gives me a lot of distance. Buzz baits, a lot of times I'll fish it. I'm fishing a big, 1/2 ounce buzz bait. I use it because I can really, move a lot of line on the hook set. Glide baits, bigger swim baits, all that type of stuff. Carolina rigs, stuff that you need to throw way, way out there. Just your larger type baits. This is a great rod for using that type of stuff. Also, like an Alabama rig is what I'd use it. So a flipping stick, guys, is a very versatile tool that goes way beyond pitching and flipping. Anytime that you need a lot of distance and a lot of power and a lot of line taken up on the hook set, a flipping stick, you can't go wrong with it. And I think a lot of people, they don't realize the versatility of it, because the flipping stick will not wear you out. A lot of people, maybe it was 30 years ago, but the new models like the Megabass Alkalies, and this thing is pretty light. It's just about like using a 7-foot rod, even though it's almost 8 feet long. So flipping stick is definitely one of my big producers throughout the year. But guys, that's the 3 rods right there. I think that you could probably get by with all of your bass fishing needs. If you were an angler that serious about bass fishing, but you don't want to spend a ton of money, you can get by with those 3s. Get you a 6-foot 10 inch spinning rod, medium action. Get you a 7-foot 2 inch medium heavy bait cast outfit, and a good flipping stick. There's not any techniques out there that you cannot fish with those 3 rods. And the other stuff, you can tweak it in between there, but you can get by with these 3. They're the most important. So anyway, I hope you guys learned something from that. Hope it helps you catch a few more fish. Much appreciated you tuning in, and we'll see you later.